All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Again, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar all about Scoutbees from ControlUp. My name is Lisa. I'm the Event Marketing Manager at ControlUp, and I will be your moderator for today. And I'm so excited to be hosting this session. I'm pleased to introduce today's speakers. We have Gadi Feldman, who we like to call the Chief Bee and the mind behind Scoutbees, and Joel Stocker, your favorite Dutch Floridian tech guru. Before I hand over the mic, I just have a few housekeeping items to cover about this presentation. First, today's webinar will be recorded and available on demand after the live session. You will receive it in your inbox to relive the buzz tomorrow. Next, we would love to hear from you during today's conversational presentation. So if you have a question for our speakers, please feel free to send it through the Q&A window. We will answer any and all questions as we can through the presentation, and we will cover everything else at the end. If we don't get to yours, we will definitely make sure to follow up afterwards. Regarding t-shirts, I will have all of the information about them at the end of today's webinar. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So Joel, I understand that you have a few questions to start with Gadi.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I'm super excited about this. Obviously, Scoutbees being a new technology for us, and that means that there's a lot of new things to learn. So I'm really excited to talk to Gadi today and ask him some of my questions. And hopefully those questions were on other people's list as well. So Gadi, thank you. First of all, I know you are the creator of Scoutbees, but maybe you can tell a little bit about what your role is over at ControlUp. And I'm also very curious to learn why you created Scoutbees.
Awesome, great. So first of all, thanks for all being here, and I'm really excited about that. So the main reason we created actually Scoutbees is to give admins a better way to proactively monitor the availability and the responsiveness of this corporate published resources. Mainly because these resources are business application or workspaces, whatever, are too important to wait until the users will report about any problem. And by the time they're going to report about the problem, it's already too late. So we always want to proactively alert based on any issue and to put the admins ahead of the game about fixing any issue or knowing about any issue in their environment.
Okay, so I hear you talking about kind of testing availability and things like that. Now, I already use ControlUp Real-Time and ControlUp Insights. Don't I have everything I need? Isn't that doing the same, or how is this different?
So it's actually not the same because we're doing all our proactive testing from the point of view of the user. So we're actually simulating a user from remote connection or from internal location and actually doing the whole flow as the user connect to the application. So connecting to the gateway, find the applications, connect to the application, actually get an operational session. And once he actually got an operational session, we actually can understand whether the user can work with the session or not. And if not, actually we're going to alert based on the reason why it's not working. So in ControlUp or Real-Time on the Insight, you actually get an info about active sessions. So you already know that all is working, you see the all operational sessions, but you have no idea about anything before that. Maybe there is some issue with the NetScaler and user cannot go through. Maybe some of the servers are not accepting connection, something like that. So it's not quite the same. ControlUp checked all the status from the point of view of the servers when when Scoutbees, do the same from the point of view of the user.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So it's kind of fitting right in there. Both have a role, or all three technologies have a role to play. So thank you for that clarification. So how do I get started? Do I need to install stuff? Because I know that when I first started working with ControlUp, I at least needed a Windows machine and a monitor machine. So do I have to do something similar for Scoutbees, or how would that work?
So no. So actually, we're going to do something quite cool today. We're actually going to onboard to Scoutbees together with you. So let's do it.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. So it's very, very simple. So Scoutbees is a SaaS application. So you just need to go to scoutbees.io and go and start a free trial, sign up for a trial. And once you're getting your credentials, you just go here and log in with your credentials. So let me just log in. Okay, so I'm in. So the first screen going to tell me, ask me, okay, which type of resource you want to check, internal or external? So we're going to cover both of them, but we're going to start with the most simple one, the scouts or the test, the check availability from outside of the network.
So before you do that, a quick question, because there's a lot of like new terminology. Well, not a lot. There's some new terminology, but let's start with the name Scoutbees. Where did that come from?
Yeah. So actually, it's a fun story. So when I thought about the name, so I'm thinking, okay, what actually we're going to do? So we're actually scouting for the status of the health of the application or the published resource. So this is the scouts. Now the bees, so I'm looking for some animal that can scout things. So I think about quite a lot, dogs, cats, whatever. And I saw, okay, bees are actually flying to flowers, something like that. So they actually can scout for something. And then everybody love bees. So yeah, why it's not the scout bees? So this is why we chose the scout bees eventually.
All right. Well, and bees are super important, so that makes a lot of sense. So so I see, like testing and research from outside and from inside. So and I see it says there create a scout. So what is a scout?
Yeah. So actually there is two main concepts to understand with Scoutbees. The first one is scouts. So scouts is eventually the definition of the tests. It's which application we are testing, from which location, to which gateway, with which credentials, and eventually with what is the interval of the test. And we're going to cover it in the second. The Hive eventually is the location of the runner. So the location from which the scout is going to be launched to check the availability of your application, whether it's from outside from our cloud-based hives. That currently we have 3 across the globe. We have one in US, one in Europe, and one in Sydney, and or from internal location. So you can install a small service in your network and just test the availability of your internal locations. And again, we're going to cover it in a minute.
All right. So let me just recap this. A scout is a test definition, and a hive is basically where that test is being initiated from. Is that
exactly
a good recap? Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, so excited to see it. So go ahead.
Okay, so again, we just create an account. So we just go to create a scout. Again, we can choose Cloud Hives or Custom Hive. Currently, I don't have a Custom Hive, so I'm going to run just Cloud Hive. Choose any Cloud Hive you want. So currently, again, we have one in US, Europe, and Asia. So let's choose one in US. Now, currently, we support 4 different gateways. The first one is Citrix NetScaler Gateway or Citrix Gateway, to create a connection from the outside location to the gateway, Citrix Cloud Gateway, Vimeo Horizon UAG, and Vimeo Horizon UAG Cloud. So in this demo, we're going to do with the NetScaler. So now
so just to make sure, so this is completely fine to use with both Citrix virtual apps and desktops as well as Horizon View.
We're totally agnostic about it. Yeah, sure.
All right.
So put my NetScaler address. So this is going to be my NetScaler and my credential. So this credential is actually going to be used for the scout. With this credential, I'm going to use to check the availability of the application, of the resource. So it's going to be use this one.
So as far as the username, can I just use a regular user? Is that something I should use a service account for?
So we suggest use a service account because actually use the least permission account, because we just want to able to open the application and see whether it's open successfully or not. So if someone going to block your account, your test is going to be failed, for example. So use service account with at least permission as you can. Eventually.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So once I put actually my credential, now I just click on Get Resource. So now I will go and fetch all the published resource, whether it's the desktops or application. There's this credential this user is entitled to. So now it will go to my NetScaler.
So while we wait for this, I did see that you skipped the field. You basically put in username and password, but what if I am using multi-factor authentication?
Yeah, so currently we support, actually it's quite complicated. We support both single-step two-factor authentication. So for example, if you have on the NetScaler three field for username, password, and passcode, so you can choose whether to put a static pin for that or just use TOTP code. And with this TOTP code, we're actually going to generate a random passcode any 30 seconds. But also, we just started to support Duo with bypass and getting the passcode with SMS, and same for Azure Mfa. We just started to support Azure Mfa for bypass and getting the passcode with the SMS.
And actually, that probably is not a good reason to, for example, use a service account, because you could exclude that specific user from, you know, on your multi-factor authentication platform. So that's not a good reason, I guess.
Exactly.
All right.
So once I actually got my resources, so now I'm going to see all the published resources this user is entitled to. So I just need to choose one of them. So let's just main desktop, choose the interval, give it a name.
So are there other options than these four predefined ones?
Currently not.
Okay.
Currently not. But again, if anyone has any feedback, we are always happy to listen and improve ourselves. So currently just four. Once I choose the name, I can just proceed to the next step. The next step actually configure the alert policy for the Scout. So the alert policy eventually is a condition engine that you can configure any condition of the Scout and be alert based on something. So for example, the most simple one is give me an alert when the status of the Scout is failed. But I also can do something more complicated. For example, maybe I can get an alert maybe when the status is failed, but maybe also the authentication duration took me more than 15 seconds. For how many subsequent tests? 5. And then I can configure the alerts. So the alerts currently support email method or webhook. So for email, we just configure my mail, Scoutbees, and that's all. And proceed to the next phase. The next phase, we guys just will give you a summary about the Scout you just created, then summary about the alert policy you assigned to this Scout, and save your Scout.
All right.
Okay.
And once you click on Save the Scout, first of all, it's always nice to get well wishes from a computer platform. But does it immediately start, or do I still need to do something to actually start?
No. So actually, Scouts, the second they actually created, they're going to start running. They're going to start to connect to the gateway, start to initiate the application, and so on, so on. So the only thing you just need to finish to completion, because once you started to scout, the whole process of running the Scout will take us about 2 minutes, because once we get in an operational session, we're going to sit on the session and wait idly for about a minute and something, and then gracefully log off. So the whole process will take us about 2 minutes, but anyway, it's going to be started immediately.
All right, so let me see if I got this right. We started at 1 o'clock this webinar. We're now 14 minutes in. So you're saying that within 14 minutes, maybe if you skip the explanation on, why the name comes from, etc., you can literally get this up and running in 10 minutes?
Much less, yeah. Usually it takes me less than 3 minutes to onboard. Yeah, sure.
That's cool. And I guess another question, because obviously you're doing this on your account. Is there a system that you can add other administrators to it, other users?
Sure, it's quite easy actually. You just go to here, choose the users, and invite the user. So can I invite you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see it.
So let's put your email. I guess I have it here somewhere. So let's put your email and put your name, and I will give you an admin and Joe and invite. So you should get an invitation in a second.
I'll keep an eye on that, but while I'll wait for that email, can you maybe talk a little bit more detail about the different use cases? I understand you have external and internal users, but how would you typically go about of looking at it when you deploy this in a corporate environment?
Yeah, so usually what we see in our customer, they usually check the availability of the resources from both the internal locations. For example, in this picture, so we have the corporate network inside. So this actually it's a real user, it's your customer that he has 3 different branches across the world. So he installed the custom Hive on any branch in London, in New York, and on his headquarters in Sweden. And he started the scouts to check the availability through his internal LAN, actually internal WAN, to check the availability to the storefront. So all the scouts connect to the internal storefront running on Sweden, and he checked the availability from there. And also running some scouts connecting for our cloud hives. So connect to the NetScaler and check the availability also from the outside. So actually simulate remote workers is very common for now, for example, that I want to check the whole flow of the users connect to the NetScaler and open the published application and so on. So check both of them from internal locations and from outside external of the network.
Okay. Okay, and there's, yeah, I mean, it's obviously focused around applications and desktops. So, but this could be, deployed by any kind of organization. Doesn't matter, kind of the industry or vertical.
Yeah, actually, I think that every customer, every organization should proactively test the availability and the health of their applications or their published resources, because first of all, you know about issues before actually someone going to report about this issue, and you actually can find some issues. So let's for example, everything is working, but for example, maybe for after a week or something like that, the authentication duration to the NetScaler started to take me a bit longer than what I expected. For example, I used to authenticate in 5 seconds, but now it takes me like 20 seconds. So everything is working, but something is not working quite well from the NetScaler or from the authentication part. So we actually can understand and know about issue beforehand, and maybe to provide some guidance to the admin and say, okay, it might be some issue. You might check it before it will become a much major issue. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So by the way, I did get my email here, so maybe I can just pull up my screen and have a look how it looks from my side.
Yeah. So actually, before that, our scouts just finished to run.
Ah.
So it's finished to run. What we see here, we see it's finished to run in 31 seconds. And this is my SLA, but I just have only one, so I don't have much to see. But actually, I can click on the name of the scout, and now I see here any iteration of the scout. So I can choose any column, for example, the server got connected, and so on and so on. But also I can click on the scout, and I'm going to be seeing the test details. So in the test details, I see some metadata about the test. So again, the user got connected, from which location, and so on and so on. Again, some visual representation about from which location I got connected, to which gateway eventually I tried to connect, and on which server the session got opened, and the different phases of the connections. So again, the authentication, how much time it took to authenticate to the NetScaler, how much time it took me to enumerate the resources, and eventually download the ICA, because it's Citrix test, so we're downloading the ICA, and sorry, the different stages of the creation of the session. So connected to the session utilization, eventually getting the session ready. So when we're getting the session ready, now we understand, okay, the session is operational, and we can proceed and say, okay, we're going to successfully connect to the session. And the very last phase before we log off for the session, we just take a screenshot to show you how the session looks like.
Okay.
So this is the detail of the test.
Oh, that's very cool. So a quick question about it, if you can pull that up again. So what's the point in the screenshot? Is there a purpose to it?
So yeah, so actually there is two. The first one is just to show the admin how the sessions looks like, whether it's all okay or not. That's the first one. The second one is something coming in the future. We're going to alert you if you're going to see some difference from what we expect for. So for example, we're going to create some baseline for the image and then compare any test to that baseline. So for example, if this is going to be my baseline and on some tests I'm going to see some error here in the middle or somewhere, we're going to say, okay, we found some inconsistency on the session, so let's check it out. Maybe there's an issue, maybe not, but we think that you should check it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can also do a notification based on that.
Exactly.
Okay. So basically, if, for example, the screenshot would be an X amount difference, I get a notification, so I know, hey, maybe there's something amiss. I can go in, see, oh, there's maybe an error message, and even kind of troubleshoot that part of the application or the test. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, so actually we're going to alert you, okay, we will say, okay, this screen is different. The screen we saw is different for the baseline. And we're actually going to say, what is the difference between the screens? Which part is different? Yeah.
All right, very cool. So let me just switch to my screen here. All right, let me know if, let me click on show my screen. All right. So I'm here in my email, and I got the email to join the organization. So let me see what happens. Okay, let me. Sweet. All right. So let me just log in. All right, so yeah, this looks like the same environment. So here's your test. By the way, a second one ran successfully by the looks of it. So what I would like to do is, I would like to use a custom Hive. So how would I go about that?
Good idea. Yeah. So let's go to the Hive tab.
Okay.
So in the Hive tab we're going to show you all your custom Hives. So the first one, let's add a Hive. Click on the bottom to add a Hive. Give it a name, so like a branch name or whatever name.
I'm just going to call it Joel's Hive for now.
Sounds good.
Since we're doing a proof of concept. Okay, so I can just click on add.
Yeah, click on add.
Right.
So now the system is going to wait for the connection of the service. So now we just need to download the installation.
Okay. There we go.
Once it got downloaded, we're going to run it. Again, there is no any prerequisites to install it on the machine. We just need any Windows machine, server, desktop. We don't care about it. It's totally agnostic to whatever you're running.
So I think I clicked on it. Let's see if it's pulling up. Oh, I guess there we go.
Okay, so now let's run the installation.
Okay. Install.
So actually, it's going to install three main things. The first one is going to be install the Hive service. So the Hive service actually is responsible for connection to our backend and for the scheduling and saving all the data. The second one is going to be the runner, is going to be run on any test, any scout from any interval. And the second one is the configuration. So in the configurator, which you can configure any configuration of the Hive. Okay. And we're going to see it in a second.
All right, so here we are. So let's click on next. And you want me to run the Hive config? Okay.
Exactly, yeah. So once the Hive config is going to be opened, we just need to copy the Hive key. I think you just copied from the interface.
Let's just make sure that I got it. Still waiting for connection here, it seems. So let me, and I can just click on save.
Wait a second with it, but okay. Never mind.
All right, well, let's see if it actually, so I'm always like clicking on blue buttons. That's my thing. So that was kind of the natural start.
Okay, so it got connected.
do see it connected. So, but you wanted me to configure something else. So how do I go back to
go
that?
to C program files x86, Scoutbees custom Hive, and SB config, and you will see there.
All right, so that's SB config.
So we mainly want to open the SB config because configure two main things. The first one is the enrichment credentials. So enrichment credentials we're going to use for any internal scout to enrich the data we're getting about the scout. So if you remember when we show you the scout we created for the cloud, we just showing just steps or the phases of the connection to the session. Which internal scout, we have much more power and much more ability because we're running inside your network, and we can access both the broker or both the VDA to get more info about the session. So we just need to provide the credentials we can both connect to the VDA when the session got running and pull some data about this session, and to the broker to get some info about the session on the VDA or the machine in Horizon. So we need here we need to provide the credentials that has an access to do a remote WMI query on the VDA, on the machine where the session has got opened, and on the broker to get some info about the session as well.
Okay.
Also, before you click and save, if your network has an app proxy to go outside, so you need to configure the proxy, so you can go to proxy and configure a proxy here. Yeah, so I think we are ready, and you can safely click on save.
Is there anything interesting in advanced, or is it too advanced?
It's advanced. You can click on advanced. So actually, if you want to see some debug or to disable SSL verify, if you need
so if I have a
disable
private certificate on my storefront, would that still work?
Sorry.
What does this SSL verify mean?
So it's SSL verify. There is an organization when actually they change the certificate when you go into any outside website.
Okay.
So in this case, we actually cannot verify the certificate on our side. So we need to actually disable this verification.
Okay. All right, but let's just keep it at this. So I click on save again. I hope I wasn't too fast with that this time.
No, you're actually really good.
All right, so let's just wait for this to finish and disappear. All
okay,
right.
Great.
Okay, so I assume that if so I don't see it here. Can I just do a refresh?
Refresh the page.
Yeah. All right,
and
there we go.
Yeah, so this our Hive just created. You will see the name, the machine on which the Hive is connected, installed, the operation system, domain, and so on, so on. Okay. So let's create a custom Hive Scout. Let's go to create a Scout.
All right.
Choose Scout type custom Hive. Choose your Hive we just created. And again, so now in the custom Hive we support connecting to the storefront, to an Netscaler gateway, same as from the Cloud Hive. Again, Citrix Cloud and both Horizon UAG and Horizon Connection Server. So yeah, in this case, we're going to actually demo the storefront connection. So we're putting our storefront web receiver, the credentials.
Hold on, let me just pull that one.
And same, get resources. Choose the resource you want to check.
Okay, so I am going to, let's just do Excel. Okay.
Awesome. Configure any alert policy if you wish so. You can also skip if you want.
Okay, and I see there's a lot of options here. I think you talked about this earlier. So I'm just going to, let me just have a quick look. Okay, so there's a lot of information here. So I'm just going to skip it for now. I assume that I can go in later and add an alert to a Scout later on.
Actually, we can show it after. Yeah, sure.
Okay. And
save the Scout.
There we go. I also get
yes, your first Scout
from the platform. There you go. All right. All right, so this one has no data yet, I see, and no alert policy. That is correct.
Yeah. So if you will click on the no alert policy tag, you actually will go and will be able to create a policy, alert policy for this Scout.
And I believe you indicated that, yeah, so both email as well as webhooks.
Yeah.
So that would just, okay, so I see you can just put in the webhook endpoint address, and then you can either do a token or a basic authentication or no authentication. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. All right. Well, I guess I just, let me just remove that one. Oh. Guess I'll just do email for now. All right.
Sounds great. So maybe in the meanwhile, I will show you how a fully operational account looks like.
Yeah, it's because yeah, we have 4 tests running. So maybe you can show how the reporting and the dashboards look like, but we actually are running this for a while. So let me just make you the presenter again.
Okay, so let me just log off from this screen, from this account, sorry, and connect with the second one. Okay, so this account is running for I guess a month or something like that. So here we see the default view of the last 24 hours. It's cool. I see the failed. I see some successful, and so on and so on. But also I can check how my scouts have behaved during some duration. So for example, maybe 5 days duration, or maybe I can choose the last months, for example, and see how it behaved. Actually, I want to check this month. This month, so I can see some, maybe there is some, so for example, this actually quite nice graph, because I started the Scout with 15 seconds for a total session ready, and I added this on almost 47 seconds. So you see it? So actually, and the most duration I spent to waiting for the session got ready, I think. Yeah, for the session got ready. So it might say, okay, maybe I have some issue with the server, maybe they are much more loaded from the beginning of the month or something like that. So it can show me some trends across some period of time. Also, I can go to tests, and now we're going to see the old tests.
But before you move on, so you're basically saying that the more kind of flat your lines are, the better kind of, or the more consistent your tests are. So
sure.
Flattening the curve, I guess in this case, is also good. But wherever you see peaks, wherever you see peaks, it's that's worth further investigation, I assume.
Yeah. For example, here 22 seconds, and the peaks I have something like almost 50 seconds. So for sure I have some issue with the servers, I think. And yeah, so it's usually I want to see something more expected. So if I will go to the test tab, I'm going to see the all tests across every scouts. So, and by default, I will see the last 12 hours, and I actually can go and filter by anything like the scout name or the Hive location or the status. So for example, if I go to last 24 hours and let's choose just the failures ones. So I will see actually on the failed one, again, I'm going to see again the metadata and the status was failed, but I won't see the server name because something got wrong. So here, for example, the test failed to download the ACA. So I'm able to authenticate to the gateway. I'm able to actually get the resources, but I wasn't able to download the ACA. Maybe the application was in maintenance mode. Maybe there wasn't enough servers to be ready or something like that. But it's kind of pin me out to the issue and say, okay, so don't care about the NetScaler, all is good. Don't care about the brokers because actually I can see all the resources, but it's something specific for this resource, this Acme CMD. So check this specific delivery group or check this application. So it can help you actually to shorten the resolution time.
Okay.
Also, from here I can go and, for example, export to CSV. It can help you also to do some more advanced reporting or something like that.
Okay, and so curious. So you mentioned you were talking about enrichment data earlier on.
Hmm?
So, obviously we did that with the custom Hive. So that is Citrix only at the moment?
Yes, Karen. So actually, let's see what the enrichment data looks like. So this session is running from the storefront. So this is my storefront. Again, the session got successful. It's coming from EMEA, so it's my custom Hive. It's connected to this server, and I saw these familiar phrases. But also now I'm able to see more info. What is the more info? I can see the network latency and the ICRTT, again for Citrix, from the Hive location to the server. I can see the actual logon duration, the Windows logon duration to the session, and also more info about the VDA, about the machine when the session got opened. So the location type, whether it's a pending update or not, machine catalog, and delivery group. And of course, able to see the screenshot of the session. So also both of these items you actually alert based on. So for example, if I will go here, I can actually create a policy that alert me based the where is it? Session logon duration. So again, this is going to be triggered based on the Windows logon duration to the session, and I can trigger by, for example, 25 seconds for X amount of time.
Okay. Let's see if I have other things I would like to learn about. Maybe you can tell me briefly about Batman. I mean, does it have to do anything with bees?
And no, I just love Batman. Actually, I actually searched for someone that something with bees, but I say okay, not bees, but let's do something with bats. So it's my Batman.
So I was thinking, so I obviously installed my custom Hive in my environment, which basically only needed the Windows machine. Do we need anything else? Do I need to have the workspace app or receiver or any kind of Citrix or VMware agents installed?
Nothing. You don't have any prerequisites. Just a clean, simple machine, Windows machine. Actually, I have a customer running on branches any desktop. They took one desktop on the branch and installed the Hive, and it's running as a service, so you don't need to do any interactive session or something like that. It's completely separated, so you don't need to care about it. You just need to do installation, and then all the control you're going to do through the application.
What about networking? I mean, you talked about the proxy, but are there certain outbound communication from the custom Hive box you need to open up?
So there's actually two. The first one is the WebSocket we're creating with our backend to actually connect with the custom Hive to get some internal resources and save some data on the custom Hive to send some scouts. And the second one is the endpoint to send the scouts data to us. So we're able to show it on the interface, to alert based on it, to do some anomaly detection, and so on and so on. So it's just two of them.
Okay. Now, as I indicated at the beginning, I obviously already run ControlUp Insights in real time. Is there any form of integration? Are there certain things that you can do here, what you can't do there, or vice versa? For example, remediation. What about you showed me some of these error messages, but what if I want to click deeper and dive deeper? Can I do that from here, or do I need still the other ControlUp technologies?
So for now, Scoutbees is completely separate from the ControlUp real-time and insights. So of course, you're going to see all successful sessions, both on the real-time console when they're going to run. Again, it's just going to be 2 minutes, so you're going to see them running on the console. And of course, you're going to be the historical behavior on the insights. But currently, we do not have any integration between the two products.
Okay.
Actually, I see there is a lot of questions.
Yeah, I actually touched on some of those already during our session. So maybe I'll walk you through those, and maybe because there were a couple of people who maybe have joined late. Maybe you can one more time kind of explain how we are dealing with multi-factor authentication, for example,
Yeah.
on the Cloud Gateway.
Yeah. So again, currently it's supported only for NetScaler Gateway. Again, just currently, but we have main 3 options to do it. Actually, 4 options to do it. So again, I will show it from here. So OTP. If you have a single step 2-factor authentication, again, the form of authentication has 3 fields: user, password, and passcode. You can choose whether to put static pin, and then we're going just to put the pin on any authentication, or TOTP code, and then we're going to be automatically generate a token, a passcode, sorry, for any connection try. The second 2 options, it's currently for duo security. If you have a duo security, so we support currently a duo bypass. So you just need to configure the service account you configured for the Scout to bypass the duo security passcode, or you can set the service account that you use for the Scout to getting the passcode with SMS, and then we're going to provide you the SMS number that we're going to get this SMS with the passcode, and we're going to put the passcode during the logon phase. The second one is Azure Mfa, quite the same. If you can configure an Azure Mfa a bypass for specific user, or getting the passcode through SMS as well. So again, we're going to provide you an SMS number that we're going to get the number to this number and to the passcode to this number, and we're going to put this passcode during the logon phase.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that again. Another question that came up here online is about remediation. So if there's, for example, one of these errors you highlighted, is there a way to run a script? Or obviously everybody's very familiar with the script library we have in ControlUp real time. Is there something similar here, or is it for now just an alert and you need to kind of do the rest manually?
Yeah, so currently we do not do any remediation, mainly because we do the old testing from the point of view of the user. So when the user actually run the test, you actually know, okay, this application is working or not working. He actually has no idea about the phase if he failed on, but here we're actually going to say, okay, which is the phase, but we do not correlate, currently we not correlate with any logs or any event we see from the on the brokers or in the storefront or something like that. Mainly because with CloudUp we cannot get access to it because we're running the old test from the outside. But currently we're just staying on the alerting phase.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, obviously, Scoutbees, and I actually have already talked to some of my customers that don't use ControlUp real-time and insights. They are just interested in Scoutbees. So for them, obviously, there is this information. But I reading between the lines here, if there would be interest from our customers to, have that type of integration, it is something that we would at least consider.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
What about Citrix Cloud? What if I use Citrix Cloud? Is there a solution for that?
So yeah, it's quite the same as connecting to a NetScaler or a UAG. Just choose your Citrix Cloud Gateway, put your address, domain, and credentials, and it works the same as the NetScaler. Actually, maybe So for example, this one is ControlUp Cloud. So running on Citrix Cloud, and it's behaved the same as you expect from NetScaler, doing the same phase of the connection, the same phases, the same, I say download, whatever, and take a screenshot. So yeah, fully supported.
Okay. Let's see. Do we need workspace? So no, we already touched on that. Not needed. I'm just putting the answers in here as well. We talked about MFA. Some people might kind of think about login VSI. How does this kind of compare, overlap? Is it something completely different? Could you maybe talk a little bit towards that?
Yeah, so Login VSI actually is a great product that I used quite often. So Login VSI, you can actually do a load testing to your environment. It is great. You sometimes actually need to check how your service can handle with the load, but it just creates the load testing. In our case, we're just doing the proactive testing. We're not actually creating a 1,000 connection to your environment and see how it behaves. We just, again, check one user, whether it can connect to the application or cannot connect to the application. And if we can actually, so we're going to say what is the behavior, but we're not going to create the load testing as the same as Login VSI.
Okay, and another tool that somebody mentioned, which I'm also familiar with, is the logon simulator tool. We obviously, have had for some time. How does this? Isn't that the same thing? What we're doing here?
Not exactly. So in Logon Simulator, you need to install the Logon Simulator on any machine to make it always in interactive session. So make sure it's always logoned, and you can connect only to Netscaler and to storefronts, and you want able to see central space to see all the data about your scouts. But the idea is quite the same, to do some interactive, proactive logon to the application and see whether it's not working or not. This one just robust, so you can spread the branches, spread the custom IP across your branches, run this from outside connections. For example, we support MFA. We don't have for this from Logon Simulator. So Logon Simulator is quite very simple, very easy. Scoutbees is a more robust solution for this matter.
All right. So I heard VMware. I heard Citrix. What about things like Microsoft WVD, Microsoft Remote Desktop Gateways? Are there any plans to, kind of extend our reach and support for those platforms?
Yeah, we're always looking for another solutions and another vendor to support. I can say the WVD is in the work, with additional other features we're going to support. So yeah, we're always looking for use cases. We're always talking with the customers to see whether the use case and how we can solve this use case. So yes, we always develop the product, always try to improve it.
Okay. I think there were some people, and I know that we have another session next week, kind of in a more European-friendly time, but that kind of prepare you for that one. What about things like privacy, GDPR? What information do we store in our cloud? Maybe you can kind of talk about the privacy and security aspects.
Yeah. So for GDPR, so all our data currently saved on Frankfurt. So any European customer can safely save it on our platform. About which data we actually save it. So we save everything you see here. For the cloud Hives, we see the credentials you put on the scouts. Of course, encrypted. It's very, very restricted on our cloud database. If you use custom Hive scouts, so all the credentials you put on an enrichment and for the scouts going to save internally on the custom Hive. So this credential will never leave your network. So this about the privacy and the security.
Okay, and maybe so we have about 10 minutes left, and there's a few questions about pricing and licensing. How does it work? So maybe, I don't think this would be the right platform to talk in detail about pricing, but at least on how is this licensed?
Yeah, so in a sentence actually, because we're not going to talk about pricing, but it's mainly based on the scouts and the hives you want to run the scout, the number of the scouts you selected, and the number of hives you are going to install inside your network. So everybody getting cloud hives, but it's just a matter of the number of scouts you want to run. We have actually the personal layer. So with the personal layer, you are getting one single scout running hourly, no matter whether it's from the custom hive or from the cloud hives. But if you want to run more, you actually need to talk with us, and then we can figure out what is the right use case for you and figure out what number of scouts and hives you need to be purchased.
Okay, so you're saying that there is a plan that basically you get the keep. It's free, and you can do one test. So that would be kind of the replacement for like the login simulator we have today.
Exactly. Yeah,
or
exactly.
used to have.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
All right. Let's see if some of them I already answered here online with some links and information. So make sure that you have a look at that. Okay. Can we use Scoutbees for our endpoints that never connect back to our headquarters network?
The question is if they can put Scoutbees as an on-prem solution.
No, I'm not sure. Can we for our endpoints connect back to our headquarters network? I'm not sure. It's the last question. No, it's not the last question. Can we use Scoutbees for our endpoints that never connect back to our headquarters network? Looking for similar insights that ControlUp give us for remote endpoints. We do not use VPN. So this works without ControlUp real time. So I'm not sure if I fully understand the question. So I'm just gonna park that and see if maybe somebody can retype it to further clarify. Maybe add Windows Virtual Desktop in the future.
So I think I understand the question. So he asked if maybe you think that you need to install something on the endpoint, on the customer's endpoint. So no, you just need to install custom Hive on single machine on any location you want. It can be a branch, it can be VPC, it can be at your home, whatever you can choose. But you for sure you don't need to install it on any machine of your on any laptop of the user, because again we're going to do it synthetically, proactively, once on X minute with only one single user.
Okay. Now, if I want to get going myself, so for the people on the call, how do they get started? If they want to get their own account, or if they want to trial this, where do they start?
Very, very simple. Scoutbees.io. You go to our website. There's quite something here. You can check an overview of the solution, of the product. There's a short video. See the main features, but the most important one is just start a free trial, and it will redirect you to creation. So I already log in, but will redirect you to the registration. Just fill your details, and you will be able to log in a second.
All right, that sounds very straightforward. And let me just go make sure that we didn't miss any questions. There's one more question about service providers. Is there any kind of flexibility when it comes to our kind of licensed offerings? Can we do a la carte, or is there anything special for our CSPs?
So yes, sure. Just talk with us, and again, we're going to come with the most with the solution will work for you. Sure.
Perfect. And I think I saw 20 different questions about the T-shirt in the beginning. So maybe we can bring Lisa back in to kind of wrap this up and talk a little bit about how we how people will get that beautiful T-shirt. And to be honest, I'm excited about that too.